to share my experience with the United Airlines last August I had. And so initially I was supposed to go to DC from Korea, and I was supposed to stop by at Narita Airport for a stop. I had to stop there, which is in Japan. And when I was there, the airplane I got into the next airplane, which was supposed to go from Narita to DC, but actually the plane didn't take off. They just kept giving us excuses. First, they gave us excuses about technical failure, that their front wheel would not go up, which would be troublesome when the plane is flying in the mid-air. Like, we didn't have any service coming from the airport because we were stuck inside the airplane for 9 hours. So we were stuck in the airplane for 9 hours. We sleep, we wake up. Even though we wake up, we couldn't get any food, or we just could get drinks. Then they made us get off the plane after 9 hours, and then they told us they would provide a hotel for a night, so we should come over to the airport again the next day again. So they told us that there's gonna be a plane in 9 a.m. So they told us to come by 6 a.m. But when we came, the 9 a.m. plane was never there. So what the fact is that the United Airlines told us a lie. They did not give us any reprimand.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, we were just like left alone in the foreign country. I really have horrible experience with United Airlines.
My name is Callahan Verteen, and I'm a freshman, and 3 years ago I was coming back from a summer camp at Oxford, and I had a long travel day ahead of me, but I got to the airport on time, so I flew from England to France, and once I got to the French airport, everything seemed fine. I got on my next flight from France to Minnesota, and I got to Minnesota, and I was extremely tired and stressed out because I've been traveling for an entire day all alone, and international travel alone is kind of like stressful as it is. So I was waiting at the baggage claim for my bags, and they never came, and I started to get more and more stressed out because my parents were waiting for me to hurry up, and they couldn't find the bags anywhere, and they tracked them, and somehow the bags had accidentally gone from France to Tanzania instead of Minnesota, and I had no idea how that happened. I obviously was very upset and stressed out, not only because I'd been gone for a month, so most of my clothes were there, but being that they were in Tanzania, I thought they probably would never come back. And additionally, I had my laptop and all my pictures from my trip in that bag, which I really valued. So it took a long time for the bag, 3 days for the bags to come back when they were sent back from Tanzania to France to Minnesota. And they eventually came, which was relieving, but it was really an experience I wish I could have avoided.
Hi, I'm Taylor Phillips, and I was traveling from London to France, and we took a train, and the train goes underwater. So it's about an hour train ride, and we were 30 minutes into it. We were underwater, and lightning struck the transponder at the next station, and so we got stuck underwater for 3 hours, and it was really stressful, and everyone was freaking out. I was really panicked. I was like, what's gonna happen? Why are we stuck under here? Nobody knew what was happening, and it was just really scary. So that's my experience.
Can you tell me about a stressful time that happened when you were traveling that was in your control?
Sure, this happens all the time in my family. My brother and I are infamous for always being late to catch any kind of bus, train, flight, anything. Growing up, we missed our school bus almost every day, and my mother had to drive us to school all the time, waking her up from her sleep and having to drive her two annoying children to school. And then traveling, my brother and I also have a very bad habit of packing last minute and not being able to leave the house on time. There was this one time where we needed to catch a flight and my brother decided to shave last minute. So of course we were super late to the airport and it was incredibly stressful trying to catch our flight on time.
So can you tell me about an experience when you were traveling that was stressful but it was in your control?
So I'm notorious within my family for overpacking. So my bags are always way too heavy and they're difficult to put in the overhead bins and stuff like that. But my dad doesn't allow us to do check-in bags because he worries about them getting lost and also like the extra fees. So this one time we were flying between islands, so there was a very tiny plane, so they were very strict about like the weight limit your bag could be. But as I overpacked and had bought a lot of touristy things like t-shirts and all that, I was pretty high over the weight limit. So in the middle of the airport, had to like open up my bag, everything, taking out my clothes, trying to figure out what to wear to make it into the weight limit, and like shifting everything into my parents' bags and my brother's bags. So that was pretty stressful because everyone was seeing everything in my suitcase, but also it like kind of pushed our time limit to the edge, so we had to rush to get through security and onto the airplane. So they were like calling our name and paging us, so it was an all around really stressful trip for what is a pretty short flight.
Okay, so tell me about a stressful traveling experience.
Okay, so it was the day of spring break last year, and I was supposed to go home. I thought I was flying out of Reagan, so I was going pretty slow in the morning. And it had just snowed the day before, so DC was in a state of emergency. And then I went to go run some errands, and then I found out that my plane was leaving from Dulles, and the Silver Line wasn't completed yet, and I had no idea how I was going to get there because cabs were really expensive because of the state of emergency. So I had to get on the metro, and I made friends with some random person, and we both figured out that we needed to get to Dulles. So we found a third person, and we ended up having to chase down the cab because the buses weren't running, and then there's only one security line at Dulles. So I had like 45 minutes to get through the security line and to my plane. And because a lot of the flights are international out of Dulles and mine was like domestic and only to Pittsburgh, I had to run like once I got through security, and I was the last person to get on the plane, and they shut the door right after me, and I almost didn't make it, and that was really stressful. Also in the story, so the part where the domestic flights were is kind of off to the side, so there's like a gazillion escalators, so you basically just go up an escalator just to go down the next one, and I felt like I was doing that forever, and when I finally got to the gate, I didn't realize it was a gate going to New York, so I just sat there waiting for like maybe 5 minutes, and then I went up to someone, and then they told me there was no plane to Pittsburgh at all in that terminal, which they were wrong about, and then I just kept kind of running down the terminal until I saw something that said Pittsburgh, and that's when I was the last person on the plane. And it was a really little plane, which was highly stressful because I don't like flying.
Okay, so I was going home for Christmas break, and I was taking the 10 o'clock p.m. Amtrak out of Union Station. Haven't had a great experience with trains so far, but figured it was going to be fine. My train was scheduled to get into the station in Westport at 3:30 in the morning. So, naturally, I was taking a nap, had an alarm, ready to go. Most of the trip was fine, but the conductor said, Westport Station, 30 minutes. Great, I'm up. I'm thirsty though, so I go to the drink car to get a drink. The train starts slowing down. And I'm like, okay. And then I see the station. It's been about 10 minutes. So I start sprinting back to my car. I get there, I grab my bag. The train has already stopped. I go to exit the train. The door's frosted shut because it's it's like, you know, -5 degrees outside. So I'm trying to open the door as I'm like carrying my 3 bags, and it's been like the train's been stopped for about a minute, and it starts moving again. I finally rip the door open, throw out my bags, and jump out of the car as it's just starting to leave the station. They didn't say anything other than the conductor coming through to say 30 minutes, which was still a lie, but there was just no alerts, no nothing, because it was 3 in the morning. They didn't want to wake up their passengers, but it was still terrible.